and all the fines. He literally dismissed all of it just by standing on his truth. Well, that video inspired this woman and her husband. So her husband had gone to, forgive me if you're watching this and I get any of this wrong, please pop in and tell me if I get anything wrong. Gone to a part of Africa because his father had died of COVID. So of course, like any good son would do, or any good family member, son, daughter, whatever, decided to go there to be at the funeral, pay respects to his father. The fact that they even had to have a discussion as a family about it, oh, what we're going to do, is again just shows you how sick and twisted everything's gone in this world. Hi, Sammy. But so he went off, came back, police came round, he'd gone out, basically. So now the police are on them. And this happened to me, as you know, Harry, just before coming to Spain. So I know it resonated with me massively. So now the police are on them. So they've reached out to me and Harry privately prior to this. And then last night, I got a message from the mum, an audio message. Shout out to mums. Again, the relevance. If no one saw our talk yesterday on feminine energy and the need for us guys to make sure that our masculine energy is matching our women for how incredible they're performing at the moment, this is very relevant because this woman, albeit as scared as she was, police came round to her house. Now I'm gonna go, oh, by the way, she's gonna be coming on I'm gonna do an interview with her and her son as well. This has come out, it'll be next week. So she's gonna come on and share the story, just like Harry shared his story about how he beat the police. So the police have turned up at their house already once, banging on the door. They didn't answer the door. They've seen our common law. They've been looking at our common law stuff, which again, very flattering that we're making a difference. You know, it's an amazing feeling as well. So she's seen the common law stuff, seen your video, inspired her. When the police came knocking, she didn't answer the door. Now this is your typical a law-abiding mother, or a whole life that, you know, has always had respect, you know, for law and whatnot. And so of course there's that indoctrinated fear. Oh my God, the police are at my door. She's got her kids there. Her child lives, adult child, 16 years old, right next to the house. They've got a little outhouse. So the 16-year-old lad has got his little house outside, right on the property, in the gardens as well, which is relevant because the police trespassed twice. So got his little house. So the police are knocking at the door. She's contacting the son. Don't answer the door. Don't engage with the police. Okay. Police have gone away, but she was really nervous about it. In fact, she came on a breathwork on the meditation course, didn't she? We did workshops last week. A few days ago, whenever it was. So anyway, that's what happened. So I reached out to her privately and we'd had a chat and give her a little bit of more information that she could use if they come back. So after last night's show, I got a message from the mum again, basically saying, James, they came back and this is what they've done, right? Now, bearing in mind, this kid is 16 years old. The police, again, a man and a woman, walked on to this family's property, okay? First of all, rang the bell, knocked the door, shouting through the door, okay? Then this is what they did. And bearing in mind, guys, when the police walk onto your property without an invitation, just like anybody else, they're trespassing. That's a law they're breaking. That's nothing to do with legalese. That's an actual law that they're breaking by doing that. They can come and knock. If you don't answer, you don't engage, they've got to piss off. That's the law. Why? Because they swear an oath to uphold the law to serve us, the people. That's a fact. So first and foremost, they broke the law again by walking onto this family's property. But the mum's feeling a little bit more empowered this time because we've had a chat. She's feeling ready to take on if needs be, okay? However, she chose, which is within her rights, to not engage and not answer the door. So she just chose, just like anyone else, to just be inside her house and not give a shit who's knocking on the door because you're not obligated to answer the door. That's your right, first and foremost. I don't care if it's the whole station. Do you want to pitch in with something there, mate?
Yeah, just give it other examples as well. You could be deaf. You might not even hear the door knocking. You could be in the bath. You could be asleep. You don't have to answer the door to anyone.
Brilliant. And mate, at any point, because I know I'm popping this on you, pitch in with anything, yeah? Please do. Just shut me up. It's not a problem. So they've come onto the property, broken the law, first and foremost. Rung the doorbell, knocked the door, shouted through. They tried 3 times to engage. The family's chosen not to. The police then start walking around her house, looking through her window, and she realizes one of the back windows is actually open. So she gets her camera out and she starts videoing what the police, and the police can't even see her. So she's standing back, so she's got evidence in the room, watching the police look through, hello for those that are joining, look through her window. The police, the man starts reading her fucking calendar and said, right, they've got the dates down here on her fucking personal, sorry, do you want to say something on that?
I just said, wow. Like,
Can you believe this? She's reading, and then she's got this on camera as well, this woman. She's got everything there, and she's ready to go with this as well, because I told her, you've got a lot you can be doing to these fuckers now. Sorry to keep swearing, but this riled me up when she told me this. So the police is looking, so now he's actually breaking in. His hand is inside the property, his head is inside, looking at the woman's calendar and reading off her personal information, passing it on to the other officer. So she's got that on camera. What do they do next? They walk over to the outhouse. The young kid, 16 years old, shout out to you, I had a chat with him last night. Fucking what a legend you are. What a legend you are. When you could hear it in his voice. I said to you, you just hit a bit of manhood there, mate. Well done. So this kid is just being a kid in his own little safe world that has never been intruded on before by anyone other than family. He's sitting there. There's a window open. The police lift up the blind, stick his head through, and the boy just freezes. He's sitting there playing his game, and all of a sudden the police are, and I'm not going to get it verbatim, but I'm going to get basically what was going on. At that point, the kid has texted the mum, like he's literally, the policeman's trying, excuse me, young man, I'm talking to you. The kid, because he'd been told prior by his mum, don't say nothing, don't look at him, don't engage. So the kid's sitting there on his on his phone saying, Mum, they're putting their head through, they're literally leaning through into my house. It's his little outhouse. Into my outhouse. What shall I do? And the mum, shout out to you, Mum, the warrior, telling him, don't engage. Don't worry, son. I'm with you. Don't worry. Just don't engage. So the officer then starts saying to him, you ignorant young man, look at you. Sprechen die Deutsch, sprechen die... Started mocking this 16-year-old kid into trying to goad him out of fear, into engaging with him. But this kid stood strong. 16-year-old boy stood strong on his common law. Didn't engage. So in the end, the mum, who's recording, has got on the camera the policeman mocking her son, goes into fucking warrior mum mode. She goes to the daughter, the twin sister of the boy, says, right, get your camera, we're going outside. So as they've got the camera, they're going outside to video the police. The police are then walking to the front gate. So they're walking up this boy. They've given the boy enough, said a couple of more nasty comments to him before they left. Then started like walking up to the gate. And the mum's gone out there, obviously the daughter filming it. He said, excuse me, get off my property. And he was like, what do you mean? We don't have to. She went, have you got a warrant? Oh, no, we don't need a warrant. She asked again. Shout out to you, Harry. She followed your guidance. Have you got a warrant? No, we don't need a warrant. Asked a third time. Have you got a warrant? Started muffing. The female, she said, the female officer, she could see in her eyes, she just went into panic. She knew what was going on. But the arsehole, ignorant, masculine, egotistical male officer, I'm not going to call him a policeman, because he was on a corporate uniform. He had that, remember that shit cap I was talking about yesterday? He had his shit fucking hat on, that copper, of the legal fiction, the officer. Started, oh, well, you know, we don't have to. You don't even know what I'm here for. She said, I don't care. Get off my property. And then she turned around and was walking back into the house. And as she was walking back in, he had one more thing. Please tell your husband that we're looking for him. As she walked back into her house. First and foremost, shout out to that mum, that sister, and that brother. Fucking amazing. How amazing. When she left me a message last night, I phoned her straight away. And she relayed, and I was like, I said, do you know what? You've inspired me even more. How amazing are you? Because she knew what she'd done was right, and she had that energy inside her that she knew what she was done was right. But because the indoctrination is so deep, and this is where cognitive dissonance, for us the people claim to be awake and all this, you've got to realize cognitive dissonance is deep. That indoctrination and that programming, that's still going to have you scared at times. It will do. But once you stand on your truth, like this woman, this mum, that female energy that we talked about yesterday, for her little uns, no matter how big they were, her 16-year-old kid's probably twice the size of her. You know, these kids like these days. But she went into mum mode, and she went into family protection, these are my babies mode, and she won. And now she can take them to court for trespassing, for breaking in, for racism. All of that Sprechen der Deutsch and all of that shit, you can get them done for racism for that as well. These are actual charges. These ain't fucking COVID bollocks that you need someone to give it. If she'd have gone out and go, okay, this is my name, this is my number, she'd have been fucked. That would have been it. And then, through that, they get to the husband. So not only did she protect her son, protect her daughter, but she protected her husband as well. So that's why tonight is about family.
Yeah, I love that story. And just a clear example of when you step into your role, the mother, and you know your foundation, you know your truth. Look at the teachings the little ones have got from that, because they put something in place, they've learned information, they've experienced it themselves, and then there's a bond within the family instantly, because you've all got each other's back, because you're playing your roles at that time. And that's really, really important, to just coming back to what we're all entitled to, our rights. Learning our common law, like the law of the land. And we're not doing anything wrong. No one has broken any laws at this point. So we're not even encouraging to be the rebel. We're telling, because again, think about it. Imagine whatever you were doing in that back. You could have had a romantic moment with your loved one, completely starkers. Someone's looked through your window. You could have been doing, I don't know what you could have been doing in that back. You don't want someone coming in there. That's the reason why you have your property, to be safe. And also that leaves trauma. That leaves that horrible doubt that someone else is going to walk round at any point to look through my window. That you carry with you for the rest of your life. So this is why we're so passionate about this, because they're in the wrong. And also, they're in the wrong because what they're doing it over is for COVID, which is completely wrong. The whole thing is absolutely nonsense. So it comes back to, let's start learning. Let's start putting these things into practice. Let's start building the community, because without that, there wouldn't have been the connection. And let's start sharing these stories after, because that will inspire a lot more other people. I just wanted to touch on the asking for a warrant as well, guys. You as a being, a living entity, you have the right to ask any police constable for their warrant and their name. If you ask it 3 times and they still refuse, they are now going against the Police Act of 1996. That's a 6-month prison sentence straight away. That's how serious it is by them refusing to give their name. And just to let you know, everything comes in threes. That seems to be the thing. If they ask 3 times, at that point, it's serving a notice. You serve a notice 3 times, and if they don't get back to you by the 3rd one, you have the right to then go and pursue it on a lawful action.
And just to quickly touch on something, the son. So I spoke to her, so she left such a beautiful message, which really lifted my soul today, because today's been a low energy, as I said to you, I've had a really low energy day today, probably due to the fasting as well. I've got to make a video, so I'm being honest on that as well, because my energy's been on the floor today. But when I got that message from this mum today, the bit that really got me, part of the message, she went, do you know what, James? My son, it's like there's been an instant change. She said, he's like a new man today. He feels empowered. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, you've got to share your story. Because she said as well, she said, you know, this was inspired by the presentation, the video of what Harry did, what you did. So shout out to you as always, brother. I'm your biggest fan. Because what you did, this is the effect it's having. There's a, you know, even if it was one, but there's so many people that you've changed and empowered with your video. And that 16-year-old, when I spoke to him last night, like, he sounded, yeah, he sounded like Barry White, like you could feel the vibrations in him, because he must have been scared. It must have been fucking, like you said, he's just sitting there. Imagine that. And then the old Bill putting the headphone, and then they mock you as well. So you're unsure, you've got the old Bill sticking in everything, you're instantly scared. Then they're taking the piss out of you. But yet he had his mum there, you know, text mum, I'd have done the same, text me mum. On the phone with his mum's empowered him, but then what she said today, she said, he's like a new man, James. Like he knew what he'd done was right and he's proud of himself. And I said, please pass on from us, everyone at Lads Talk Health. We're incredibly proud because it's his stories like this. And that's why I've asked her, will she come on, which she's going away with her family for a week. She said next week she was willing to do it. And I said, if it's okay, bring your son on. Like, let him tell his story. Go on.
Don't wear their mask either.
Yeah, exactly.